Welcome to this artist talk about the exhibition Loud Volume Soft Stuff here in Officinet in Copenhagen. The show is open until the 1st of July. And I am Sofia Hagstrom Moller.
And I'm Marianne Fairbanks.
So we're going to start with how did you two meet and start working together? And that's quite interesting. Actually, we started to talk through Instagram for 3 years ago. I was following Marianne's weaving lab, and I wanted to buy small weaving tools that she was using for her workshops. And I sent a request, can I buy them? And I could.
Well, I was so flattered to get a request from Denmark, like, can I buy your loom? I was like, oh, well, it's not for sale, but I'll send it to you. So I did send Sofia some looms, but I didn't think about who she was. And it was only a little bit later that I was coming to Scandinavia to do some research in weaving. And I looked through my Instagram followers, who's in, because I didn't know you can sort your Instagram by where people live. And I thought, I'm just going to reach out to every weaver in Scandinavia and see if they'll meet me and do a studio visit. And so somehow Sofia's name came up. I messaged her, I'm coming to Copenhagen, will you meet me? And she said yes. So we had our blind date, thanks to Sofia.
Yes.
In Copenhagen.
Yes. And that was, that's also the first time I actually say you meet someone on Instagram and you're asking, can I meet you? And I'm
It's very strange, I know.
Yes, but I think it was really also fun to meet an American professor and showing her around here in Copenhagen. What do you want to see, and how do you gonna, think about the culture and the weaving traditions we have here? And I was actually thinking that that is for 4 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
And we were in this room, and we were joking that, we should have an exhibition here. And now we are having an exhibition here. So the next question is, how would you describe this exhibition to someone who has never seen it before, and what it makes it unique?
Well, I think our goal was to present weaving in a way that felt fresh.
Yeah.
So I think while we both have technical abilities with weaving, I think what inspires me with weaving is the potential for it to do everything, anything and everything. And so I think for me, I'm always interested in getting people to see it with new eyes, with fresh eyes or beginner's eyes. And textiles I think it's a blessing and a curse. We all know textiles and we all know weaving because we wear it. But I think that familiarity can sometimes make it seem ordinary. So how do you re-envision it, reimagine it, make it come alive and be seen anew? And so that's part of my goal, is to shake up and always just try to push into new terrains. And so I think I do that through color and scale and perspective and very graphic and optical effects in my own work. And Sofia, you have your own approach, I think.
Yeah. So I think what makes it unique is that it's actually us that putting works together. We already said that you're coming from a culture that hasn't that big tradition for the weaving as I am. I might be a bit bound to it sometimes. I feel like there are so many rules that you have heard as a child. This is, not that you cannot, make different, but it's when you're brought up with it. You're like, this is how you do this pattern in weaving, and this is how you put up a loom, and this is how you use these materials. And then I think I love to break these rules, but it's also a bit challenging because you also have to meet, someone that's like, why do you do this? And together with you, I felt like there was no questioning. Can you do that? Because for you, everything was open, everything was free, and you saw it as, it's a pattern. It was maybe a weaving pattern, but for you, it was also a pattern. So I was more free to just, okay, I'm just gonna do this, even though it might not be what we are used to do here. So yeah, I think that's what makes this exhibition a bit unique.
But I think that lends I know it's not the next question, but
Yeah.
that we talked about what is surprising or what were surprises that came up. And I think for me, some of the surprises that came up are kind of this cultural, so we're collaborating, through cultural exchange of ideas and creative exchange. We're not collaborating in a sense to like make work together that then we're presenting as our collaborative work, but we're collaborating to put up this exhibition and to have conversations about our practice that it's fun to have that, and to have questions coming from someone else and ideas. So I think the surprise for me though is sort of, where are these cultural rules bound? And again, like, I don't think I only through your eyes do I sort of see like, yes, in America, we don't have rules. Like, because there is not a huge cultural heritage of weaving in America as it is in Scandinavia, there's not as many rules to be broken because we just don't have that history that's tying us. So, we can try anything. I think a little bit comes from, I'm trained as an artist, I always was taught to approach weaving as an art form, and that I never, for example, have woven yards of cloth for a functional use so much. I've always made it for exhibition, and I don't have the training to weave a, hardcore pattern that might be, more functional.
And that's, I think that has been really fantastic for me to follow, because for me, sometimes as a weaver, and you're like sitting very close and you're like, I have to do these right and it has to be all right. But you're like stepping back and you're like, but how does it look? And what is the graphic and how does it look like from 2 meters? And that is because you're trained as an artist. So, and for me, I'm like, but the threads has to be right and in this order. So that's been really nice for me to go into my own weaving to see that, okay, but maybe I don't need to follow all these where they are not needed. I mean, if I want to weave like 10 yards, then I would, I could do it, and I would do it like as it should be. But maybe that is not the goal here. And then it's also very good for me to learn to see it as a piece of art instead. So, but I also think, because as I said, I sometimes I felt like a bit bound to the traditions and what I have from my childhood. But when I went to the residency in the US, I felt like more grateful that, wow, okay, I really have this with me. Because when you're here, you're like, well, yeah, that's what we have. But when you go over to you and when I talk with you, I'm like, okay, wow, it's fantastic. I have all this.
You have that history built into who you are as a person. Yeah.
And I can see that now, that that is just a fantastic material I have with me.
Yeah. Your grandmother's weavings in particular,
Yeah. And the natural thing about, her loom just standing there always, that was like, well, everyone has a loom, everyone has a fridge, everyone has a loom. Yeah. And that's not true. But that's for me, I was thinking like that for a long time, and I still think in Sweden, like, there's a lot of looms up there, which is impressive. Yeah.